Hello. Well,
Hi.
I was on YouTube the other day and I was watching one of my favorite directors, Werner Herzog. Um, makes these fantastic documentaries. But I was particularly looking up God's Angry Man, which is about Dr. Gene Scott, who used to be my pastor, and Werner Herzog made a short documentary about him. And then you had brought up something to the fact that what about documentaries or movies where the interviewer plays either a lead role in it or plays
Here's
a
the
big
difference
role.
between an interview film and a documentary. Is that an interview film is different. It doesn't have as much commercial appeal as a documentary. Like something like when you watch a documentary about nature, people will love it and they won't need an interviewer. But a subject that's hard to understand, like voting, fast food, is a kind of thing that has an interviewer because it's hard to understand. I pay attention because I had trouble not seeing anybody in documentaries for three different reasons: from watching Little Mermaid and having Ariel lose her voice, and also having language processing problems, like when I was talking on the phone, and also when I watched nonfiction films in school, and then I had ones of hosts and then didn't have ones of hosts. It was like a change for me, and I something of change. And do you know the time when people start to more like documentaries?
Well, I mean, documentaries sort of came in around the '60s, right? I mean, like that's when like stuff like Titicut, do you know like Titicut Follies by
I've heard of
Fred?
that.
That's a fantastic doc, and it's not really a documentary. He's observing them. So I don't know. So documentary is all wide encompassing. He's like observing them. He never speaks, and he's just like observing this
I
whole mental
almost
world.
similar to your reality films. I For nonfiction films, I have all different categories.
Okay, so give me an example of what you're talking about, because what you're talking about can either be Werner Herzog in Grizzly Man, or it could be Orson Welles in F for Fake, if you ever saw
Yeah,
that.
interview film. I've seen F is for Fake, but the problem is that I can't tell. And by the way, the time when people most get into documentaries is when school is over,
Oh, well, but why is that though?
because school is where you watch the worst non-controversial documentaries.
Well, I disagree that today. Look what they teach what they teach in school. It's very progressive, let's say. It's not the documentaries. I mean, I don't know what documentaries I was taught in school, and I told you about that movie, The All American High.
I saw it. I liked the host,
Yeah,
the
that was
Finnish
made
host.
that was made at my high school a few years before I was there.
And she was cool and she had a lot of charisma.
Right, but does that count in terms of what your subject is? Because she is it's from her point of view, but she's
It's
not the
just hosted
director.
nonfiction, is what I call it. But interview film would be Michael Moore or Morgan Spurlock.
Okay, now, but how is that different than okay, so you're saying interviewing people off the street then, is that what you're saying? Because how is that different than Werner Herzog when he's in all of,
He's
like if you see
interviewing them.
okay. Well, I mean, he's interviewing in Grizzly Man, and then what's the other one? Even Dwarf, the Dwarf movie, didn't he interview people in that one? I forget also. Um, and then remember also the Little Dieter Needs to Fly, that Werner Herzog about the pilot during was it World War II or was it Vietnam? No, it was Vietnam. It was the character that Christian Bale was based on for Rescue Dawn. Did you know that he did a documentary called Little Dieter Needs to Fly, and he interviews Dieter, and Werner Herzog's in the movie.
And uh I can't tell if it's for fake. I couldn't tell if it was a mockumentary or a documentary.
See, that's what I mean, because you're talking like it's from the documentary's point of view, the person making it. So maybe he's a liar. Like, you know what I mean? Like isn't Morgan Spurlock kind of a liar in Super Size Me? He's trying to make it to fit his agenda.
Well, it didn't seem anything like a mockumentary. It just seemed it was pretty funny.
But you know what I mean? Like F for Fake started as a documentary about pirated jewelry, and it ended up being about this other guy, and that's how these documentaries turn up. They turn on you, like Sherman's March, Ross McElwee. It became basically by him exploring the Civil War, he's able to learn more about his life. And so there's very few in that category. Like I was trying to think of a list, and you can start rattling off some names, but I was trying to think of other ideas. of what
But
you're
my
talking.
Barbie one, and I did ones in school, and I don't even remember school pros, and I don't even remember them. I was giving you some trailers of them, and I'll tell you what happened today. 16 years ago, I
Oh,
saw
okay.
Last Party and decided, which had Robert Downey Jr. hosting, being a charming interviewer, and I decided I want to vote. If this charming guy is telling me that voting is cool, I gotta vote. And he's talking to a lot of young people.
But you're talking about a documentary that's sort of young people accessible, that it 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 educates them in a way that they find entertaining. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
So that could be like maybe some of well, he never made a feature like that, but like some of Cameron Crowe's early discussions with groups where he's inserting himself as the
yeah,
interviewer, interviewing people like that, right?
yeah.
Well then, well, there's a mockumentary called Take the Money and Run, which is like that. Have you seen that with Woody Allen?
Yes, I love Woody Allen.
And that's a fake mockumentary, and Woody's behind the camera asking the questions. He's supposed to be the interviewer, but he's also, interviewing about this criminal played by him, but it's dual. So that's a mockumentary, um, you know, in itself. So yeah, I don't know what else. I guess that's the program. No, I don't know. Go ahead, keep.
It's a term I've had ever since I watched Roger and Me.
Okay. Well, how about Hearts of Darkness? How do you feel of that? The making of Apocalypse Now, made by his wife, Ella.
Was his wife interviewing, or was she just narrating?
That's a good question. You're right. I think she's narrating mostly in that movie. I don't remember if she interviews other people on that. Uh, yeah. What
I
more?
don't really know where to put those because I couldn't tell if it was just a promo film or it was just more expanded.
Yeah. Well, like anytime fits any a film fits into the category that you're saying, it tends to be the agenda of the interview. Like, for example, Errol Morris wanted the guy to be released, so he made the movie, put himself in it, and he manipulated in such a way to fit his agenda. So is that really like is that really considered a documentary, or is a documentary more of an observation as opposed to something that's subjective?
We'll
For
interview somebody's point of view, but it just seems different when they're nice. Like when I'm interviewing people about Barbie, I'm trying to be as nice as possible, but I have some kind of rules of what not to talk about. Like I wanted to be PG because of the subject matter.
And let me ask you something. Why does the interviewer have to be in the movie, or in the piece, so to speak? How does that affect the outcome if the interviewer's in it?
It makes it easier to understand for certain people like me.
Ah. Warren, what do you think? What's an example?
Like 9/11.
Well, yeah, but that's Michael Moore, though. Yeah, I was trying to think something that Wim Wenders had done. Um, uh, you know, um, or what's another one? I think Agnes Varda, but see, those aren't really documentaries, but she's interviewing different artists, and
So it's probably interview films.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just Michael Moore that's in your category, and to a certain extent, Errol Morris. I think Herzog, very much so, because Herzog. That's what makes him such a great documentarian, is that he puts himself into every foreign, landscape. You-
But here's what kind of interview films are neutral. Anyone that Keanu Reeves hosts because he has a lot of very neutral personality. I consider myself having more personality than him.
Mm, mm, mm. Um, well, I don't know. There was an Iranian movie that was following. Gosh, and it was like I think this is a mockumentary, though. Well, no, actually, it was half true. Abbas Kiarostami, he won the Palme d'Or, I think, twice. He's a terrific Iranian director, but he made a movie about his friend Makhmalbaf, who's another filmmaker, great filmmaker. I guess he's getting arrested and imprisoned for speaking out in his work. So Kiarostami's following him through trial and all of that. So Kiarostami's asking the questions through the trial. So I guess I guess that kind of counts, but the question is whether that's entertaining to you as an educational source. I don't, I,
Well, uh, I expect more from documentaries, no host documentaries, when they're foreign, because my top three non-hosted documentaries are all foreign. It's a Beatles one, a British one, Animals Are Beautiful People, a French one, a John Cassavetes. They're my top three, and they're all foreign.
okay, so you mentioned Cassavetes. Here you go. Okay, well, actually, backtracking this, yeah, there were two things I want to talk about. So you realize there's a movie about the making of Fitzcarraldo called Burden of Dreams by Les Blank, and
Yeah.
yeah, and he's filming and interviewing Werner Herzog and Klaus Kinski during the
On
making of.
camera.
Well, that's the question. I'm trying to remember the movie now. If he's on camera, he was certainly asking questions. I haven't seen the movie in 30 years. Yeah. So that one, I guess nobody knows that one. Okay, and then
Burden of Dreams.
Yeah, Bernard, and the Cassavetes. There's a movie about the making of Love Streams, and it touches upon the rest of Cassavetes' life. It's called "I'm Almost Not
I'm
Crazy."
really disappointed in it. I thought it was going to be like the French one, which was entertaining, and his personality reminds me of Quentin Tarantino.
But you have to understand the context of when that movie was made. First of all, it was produced by Canon Films. This documentary, the director was a writer for the LA Weekly called his name is Michael Ventura. He's passed away now. And he's in that documentary though. He's asking Cassavetes the questions. He's talking to everybody. He's talking to Bull Harwood. So that technically should qualify for your category,
Okay,
right?
did you say Cameron Crowe
Cameron Crowe, did I
earlier
say?
or
Did I
no?
say? No, no, I didn't say. No, well, I mentioned him earlier. Yes, yes, but
Okay, never mind. But uh, by way, John Cassavetes, what I like about him is that he charmed people to see the movies, and his kind of films were kind of films that people wouldn't see, and he put his charm and got people to see them.
well, yeah, but he got people to see them 30 years after he died.
Did people not see them when they were originally released?
No, when Killing of a Chinese Bookie came out, they went to the premiere at the opening night, and like 2 people, like 20 people walked out, and there were only 20 people there. So so that's why he says forget it, and he shelved the movie for how many years, recut it, and so forth. Um, opening night was a flop. That's why they said it's a lost movie, and he was like, my movie's never lost. No, American companies didn't respect him, but but he says go to France. This is the biggest art movie ever, opening
He's
night.
so entertaining. Uh it's interesting how the same uh company that made those films that went to the Shock Dance Film Festival made Cassavetes' film.
Did you say shock dance? What did you say?
Flock. Like because their films are so schlocky.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a festival, it's not a real festival, it's one I made up.
Yeah, but Cassavetes stuff didn't really take off till like the 2000s. Although this is, I don't know if you know this, that the reason why they took off is because Disney put them on video VHS in the 90s. Did you know that? Like in the late 80s, early 90s, they put all of his movies except for like.
Disney, not their Miramax division.
No, this was through Castle Hill. Castle Hill had done a deal with Disney because I talked to Seymour Wishman, who ran first run features, and he sold them Cassavetes and movie Strangers in Good Company. I don't know if you know that movie, but I think it's an Australian movie, and he sold them these Cassavetes films. So my first entry to watching Cassavetes was through a Disney videotape.
Well, did Disney release them those all those films before they bought Miramax?
Oh yeah, yeah. It was right around. I think Miramax came in like maybe 4 years later for Disney. Yeah, yeah. So and these didn't do well on videotape. Nobody knew what they were, and then they showed them at the Sundance Festival, around the year that he was going to pass. He passed away, I think, that year, and they showed all his movies. And then like jump 10 years later, and then you have all these new filmmakers, Soderbergh, all these guys saying, "I love these. I love Cassavetes." And he got his full due in the 2000s, I feel, like, around She's the Lovely around that time, like
Yeah.
98,
Uh,
99.
so in Last Party, it's not really. bias, but in it, Robert Downey Jr. is going to Republican and Democratic conventions, talking to people about voting and why voting is important.
Okay. Okay, that's good. What
And
about
what
the Oh, go ahead,
what
go
about
ahead,
what?
go ahead.
No, you
No,
say it. What is it?
no, there was another documentary. I would no, no, but if I didn't want to finish the subject of the last party if you weren't done talking about it.
You can
Um,
say what is it?
I was talking about. I don't know the name of it. It's about this male buff model, and he's a calendar boy, and it's following his career. It's called something like the next candidate or something, or the next calendar guy. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like from the year 1997,
No, I
and
don't know what it is.
yeah, or the perfect candidate. I think it's called the perfect
Yeah.
candidate, and he's this big male. He's this like this model beefcake guy, and he's modeling around. So that's another one that could be in that sort of entertainment.
Does he interview people about his modeling?
I believe so. I believe
He's gonna
so.
be the perfect host.
Yeah, he should. What's his name? What's his name? Dirk Diggler. Dirk, not no, no. Dirk Diggler is Boogie Nights. I forgot the guy's name. Yeah, and then don't forget. There was that Heidi Fleiss documentary, wasn't there, where the director interviewed her also,
And I don't
or
want to see her. I don't like her. And
what?
so uh it was funny when like Robert Downey Jr. last party was charming the stockbrokers. Most people who were being talked to him were charmed by
Mm.
him.
No, you're saying that the interviewer has to ask questions on camera, right? Because
Yes,
every documentary they're asking somebody
I
something,
know
like.
that.
Okay, because there's a great documentary called AK. I don't know if you've seen it, about the making of Ran Kurosawa, and
Okay.
it's directed by Chris Marker, who did La Jetée, the great French short film, which is all stills. And this one you never hear the interviewer, but it's about Kurosawa's process of making the movie. Um, and then don't forget that other one about Picasso where he's painting. Did you know I'm talking about that movie where the
No,
mystery?
they're very obscure ones. And this is probably why I haven't heard of Last Party. Around the time I watched it, it was 2009, and it was a year after Robert Downey Jr. was in Iron Man.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big Honestly, I'm not a big documentary person. I watch them if if a subject interests me. But I mean, there's even like if you go back, like there's another one called Silver Lake View. Have you seen that? It's
What is
it's
it?
it's the first documentary. Well, it's one of the first documentaries to deal with AIDS. So literally, the subject is dying while during the
Mm.
process of the documentary, and the interviewer is present, following everywhere. I forget who directed it, but he's following it everywhere. You
And
know.
there's one scene where Robert Downey Jr. is bored, so he goes in the fountain and then he sits down shirtless with his nice body, and then because he has nobody to talk to, and then a kid comes up with a fortune and gives him a fortune cookie and says, "Hey, you look kind of stupid." And then he charmed a kid.
Was that planned or set up?
I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Um, well, can I ask you, what is the fascination with this subject, with having an interviewer ask questions on camera versus learning about this? Like, I mean, what if the interviewer looks like me? I don't look like I'm not a muscular guy. So how is that going to make it more interesting? Like if I'm on camera asking people about food or wine, you know?
Well, here's somebody who wasn't the most attractive person. A guy from Letterman who did an interview film about industrial musicals, but he was pretty entertaining.
Who was
Steve
that?
Young.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, like I said, documentary takes a full form. Like, well, how do you classify like Baraka? Do you know Baraka, or do you know like Koyaanisqatsi? Like,
It's called more experimental. They're
okay,
hard to describe.
but they're talking about the world, so isn't that some form of a documentary? Because Koyaanisqatsi is showing about overpopulation, over industrialization,
Yeah,
over
but
technology.
the the interviewer helps people like me who have trouble understand it, and also what it teaches me about human interactions in a different way. Like when I film myself interviewing people, I'm more learned about human interactions.
Mm-mm. Well, I mean, I think a good example is you may disagree. Is My Best Fiend again by Herzog, but it's about his 20-year or his 10, 12 year relationship with Werner, with Klaus Kinski, and Herzog talks through the whole movie about his life with him, how they fought, how they made movies together, and that really brings you into the subject of Klaus Kinski. If I ever saw a very personal documentary, like that. And then you have the genocidal documentaries, right, about the Holocaust, right? And that very much like Marcel Ophuls, not Ophuls. Oh my gosh, who did star in The Pity, Warren? But then you have Claude.
Marcel
Right? Yeah, Marcel. What's his name? Marcel what?
oh something.
Yeah, and then you also have Claude Lanzmann who did Shoah, right? And he's very much a part of that, interviewing all of the survivors from the different camps. And that you learn more, you gain more insight as well. Uh, but like stuff like Last Party, that's pretty. I mean, that's pretty rare. I mean, there's a Bruce Lee documentary where the interviewer is on screen, but they use three interviewers. There's like a
That still
lady.
counts because when I was watching one about stunt women, they had three different interviewers, and it was interesting to see their different perspectives.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this one had like three. One's a female, two are males, and they're interviewing the cast that worked with Bruce Lee, and they're saying, "What did you think?" And they're actually on screen, like saying, "What did you think about this? What was he like?" I guess that could qualify. If that one's called Bruce Lee the Legend. It came out like in 1978, I think, or 79, something like that. Yeah.
But what's fun for me about interview films is seeing how people react towards the people,
You mean this, how they react to the subject or to the
how a
interviewer?
subject relates to the interviewer.
Okay. See, I like it because what if the interviewer is psycho? Like, what if I'm the interviewer and I'm psycho because then like then you're not then you don't know what the reality is of the subject. Like, I could make Warren look like a mass murderer the way I do the way I could depict him in a documentary. I could
This is what
lie.
was
I could
funny
lie.
about uh, Super Size Me and Roger and Me, the big one, Bowling for Columbine, is how
Oh yeah.
exaggerated they were.
Right, right. Um, I didn't want to give too much, although the filmmakers are friends of mine, but the subject I don't like. There's a movie called Deconstructing Dunning, and it's about a homeless actor who has survived over the years in LA by ripping people off and lying and being a criminal. Um, alleged. Okay, in all fairness, although I did have him arrested on the set of Samurai Cop 2, but this movie is called Deconstructing Dunning, and I'm in it as I'm being interviewed, and you do hear the directors Tracy Tufts and Steve Kateni offset asking questions, and it's one of those cases where they're moving it around where they're making him appear more like an ugly man than he really is. You know what I mean? Like they're making claims that he ripped off all of this stuff than he really did. You know what I mean? So you gotta be careful if people like you are saying this is the gospel, because what if the interviewer is lying, you know? Like, I don't know if you read Catcher in the Rye, or
Yes,
as
I
I
did. I didn't like reading it.
okay, but see, you can't trust the interviewer. You can't trust the character because he's lying.
Yeah. I try to be as sweet as possible in the my Barbie movie, and to just talk about how great Barbies are.
Well, that's pop culture. So you sit down and then you say Barbie's the conduit that connects everybody in this world together, right? So I can understand that. And there wouldn't. I mean, there could be some controversy in terms of race, because I think Barbie hasn't done a fair share of making like an Asian Barbie or black Barbies too much, or
I feel like there was
Hispanic
enough
or
of that. We don't want to get into that. It's just
yeah, I know.
uh, I want to make it very family oriented.
Yeah, I know. I like the idea, certainly. Yeah.
And so, one part of a voting thing with Robert Downey Jr. is he goes to Charlie Chaplin's studios.
On which became Jim Henson's studio.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Good that you mentioned Chaplin because there's that documentary by Kevin Brownlow called "The Unknown Chaplain," and Walter Matthau is the interviewer. Did you ever see that? And Walter Matthau's on screen interviewing
Oh,
Chap interviewing
I thought.
Chaplin.
Oh, I think I've heard of it because a friend's father-in-law did research for Hollywood. So
Okay,
I
okay. Actually, I could remember. Wait, this is a Brownlow one. It's not Unload. Brownlow did two Chaplin documentaries. One, Walter Matthau is the lead, and he takes a Chaplin to lunch. He talks to him. So I guess you could say that could qualify, and it's a very good documentary. You know.
because it's foreign, I just feel I just have higher expectations of foreign ones for some reason.
Isn't that crazy that it took a Britishman to rescue the American silent movie library, basically? Like that's just crazy that the and I think some of those fires were set up. I'm just saying alleged fire, like that destroyed half of our, that like what 25% or no half of silent movies don't exist anymore because they went on fire.
Wow. So how many percent of silent bear movies don't exist?
Yeah, that's true. Did D.W. Griffith ever do a bear movie?
I don't know.
Did you like the bear in Chaplin's The Gold Rush? Because remember he gets chased by a bear.
I just saw Modern Times in school. I from seeing clips of Chaplin, I thought he was really charming, and I thought Robert Downey Jr. before I knew about him from Ally McBeal was like Chaplin.
Well, Robert Downey Jr.'s father made didn't he make a documentary, Putney Swope, about the racial conflict? His father made he I think his father was a documentarian. Did you know that?
No, he just did a documentary about a park. He just Robert Downey Sr. did experimental films.
Right, but I think one of them was a documentary, and then I swear Putney Swope. I'm sure, like I don't know everything, but I'm pretty sure I thought it was Putney Swope. So yeah, I mean it's I just don't like it when they skew it, like like an inconvenient truth. It's a little bit skewed at that time, the way he's presenting his case, and I like things to be a little bit even, but
It's like a
there's
boring concert film to me.
well, kind of, well, you said it. But I want things to be fair, and nothing comes, and then even if you talk to somebody, five people about the same event in a documentary, all five people will give you a different story, which is good, you know. So let the subject speak, and then you'll see that there is no truth because the truth is within the five
That's
people,
what I learned when I was doing a a school project. I just had all different stuff, and I forget what I was even talking about. How big was Robert Downey Sr. compared to like John Cassavetes, Dennis Hopper?
Well, they were all kind of in that same game because there's the guy who did also oh gosh, I'm pulling up names and I forget. Haskell Wexler did a movie called Medium. Was it Medium Cool? Medium Cool. That was
Yeah.
about, yeah. So that was they were all part of that circle. But I would say, well, I mean, don't forget, Cassavetes was first and foremost an actor, and he was a famous actor. I mean, he was like, I mean, he was sort of like the George Clooney of the day, I guess you could say. So he was known, but as a filmmaker, no, he wasn't known except for Faces because he that was nominated for an Oscar. But then they somebody had told me a story, like they were like the industry would be like, oh, not another Cassavetes movie coming out. We got and that's the same thing I heard about Henry Jaglom. They were saying, oh no, there's another Henry Jaglom movie coming out. R.I.P. Mr. Jaglom. I love your work. Okay, I did
I
not say
like
that.
Sit in Ducks, and I like just 45 minutes from Broadway. I wish I could tell Henry Jackman that Judd Nelson's character in 45 Minutes of Broadway is one of the coolest characters in an American non-commercial feature film, and one of the only characters in a non-commercial American feature film that's like me.
Are you sure that's the title of the movie? I thought it was called Hollywood Dreams or something.
So
Yeah.
just 45 Minutes of Broadway, where
Okay, I don't know that one.
it's but where a girl was and a blonde with some blonde girl was bringing her fiance home to meet her family, and he couldn't believe how over the top they were. Kind of remind me of My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Okay, so this is like the later part of his career then, right? This is not like Always There's Someone to Love and New Year's
Yeah.
Day. Because I like those really always like yeah, and Venice Venice. I like those movies. Those are to me they're really good. And but you don't really appreciate them until you talk to him and you talk to Hanania Bear, his cameraman, about how they made them, and then you get an appreciation of how those movies work.
I'm
But
just not into mumblecore. Even documentaries are more appealing than mumblecore. They're just mumblecore is hard to understand, and I like something that's like Woody Allen.
you like Woody Allen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I do. I think Stardust Memory is a fantastic movie until it gets to, did I mention this to you before on a show that like that year or 79, 1980, there are two movies that blatantly say, "Hey, I'm inspired by Fellini's Eight and a Half." There are two movies, 1979 and 1980. Do you know the two movies? And I just named one of them. But
All
like
that
you watch,
jazz.
yeah, there you go. So you watch them and they're exactly like, yes, he's saying, I love eight and a half. Look at me, I like eight and a half. And yeah, exactly, exactly. Those two. And I was like, what happened in those years? Did eight and a half just get seen for the first time all of a sudden in 1978 or what? Like what?
Well, they were young when Eight and a Half came out, and then they got their chance to make it. So, and a fun interview film is Bathtubs Over Broadway because it's something that not too many people know about. It's about industrial musicals. Do you know what they
Oh,
are?
no. Industrial musical would be uh
Like
Les
John Deere
Miserables.
tractor, they want to advertise their product. So what they do is they make a musical to advertise a product.
So would that be like Wicked then?
No, because it's just Wicked is just a story they have. Like they're industrial companies. They want to advertise their product at shareholders meetings, so they show those musicals.
Oh, then I have no clue what that would be. Annie. No, I don't know. I don't
And
know
I
what
was
it is.
laughing really hard because they're pretty bad. And a lot of people like Martin Short, they got their start in industrial musicals.
Okay. Well, not only industrial musicals, but anything on Broadway. A lot of these classical actors uh, came from.
They're
Yeah.
before Broadway. It's people that aren't experienced enough to be on Broadway.
How do you feel then about I'm not. I don't know quite how I feel about it. I know how I feel about her because I love her music. But how do you feel about Truth or Dare then, Madonna? That documentary. How do you feel about that?
I couldn't get into it. I couldn't tell what it was.
Because he's the director, Alec Kashishian. He's in the movie. He's interviewing her and he's hanging out with her. He's very much, and in fact, she ended up being with him for years after that movie was done. So I was just curious what you thought, because so
I
that, and
didn't know it was in it. She was being very annoying, and I really love Madonna. She's my favorite female singer.
well, at least he wasn't afraid to leave stuff in, and she probably said that was fine. But like, she insults Kevin Costner in the movie, and he let that stay in. So he shows a lot of her behind the scenes antics. I thought it was just a great way to see her on the big screen because I'd never been to a Madonna concert. I still haven't been, so it's like that's the closest I got to see, to seeing Papa Dome
I
preach.
I regret not being at concerts, especially since a lot of the creative people who make movies come from a music industry.
Um, Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially in that period. Now you don't see people coming from the music industry so much, but a lot of them, like even the Weinsteins, came from the music industry. They were rock promoters. They had all the big bands come through. That's how they had all these contacts to do soundtracks and make movies, because naturally music people have movie contacts and vice versa.
That's why
So
they have good music. Like, why is it that when music people make movies, they do better than when TV movie try to make theatrical films?
are you sure that's accurate?
I just hear stories that sometimes people don't want to work for the studio because they're associated with TV. I just hear some of that stuff.
Well, he's a good director, but I'm so bad at names. American History X. He was a music video director, right? And he
Oh,
and he went off to do films successfully. David
not to,
Fincher. David
I'm not
Fincher.
talking about music video directors. I'm more talking about the more of a producers.
Oh, I have no idea because I don't know. My history on that doesn't go back. I mean, Barry Gordy made Mahogany. That was a flop. So and it had one of the best songs of all time with Diana Ross. So that was a flop. I don't know who else is a music producer that started making movies. I mean, Casablanca produced. What did Casablanca do? Thank God It's Friday, Warren. I don't remember.
One of the Beastie Boys, he had his own company.
Oh, Oscilloscope.
I'm not sure if Casablanca Casablanca Records was involved with Thank God It's Friday, but what about uh, Ken Burns? I'm not sure if Ken Burns was involved with movie documentaries, but he's of course famous, you know, with his documentary series.
Well, yeah, but no, but he narrates his own documentaries. So yeah, I mean, his personality's in it. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's different categories. Documentaries where someone narrates it, someone's in it, and then someone doesn't talk at all, like Titty Cut Follies. He doesn't talk at all. Just observes.
Here's a
Um,
music person that's successful in movies. David Geffen.
yeah, Geffen, I could see that. Yeah, yeah,
I
definitely,
love Little Shop
definitely.
of Horrors.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, I mean, Risky Business.
Yeah, I love that. I love the scene when he was dancing.
Yeah, and then Beetlejuice. Geffen did Beetlejuice. The
I'll tell
you
you
know
what's
the
funny. When you brought up Sundance, I thought of that film that one of the Sundance founders produced with Sylvia Sidney called The Witch and a Ben Wagner.
I don't know that one. What year is that from?
1990, but IMDb
Uh
says 1987. It's very slow. It was you don't know about it because it was shown on Disney Channel and Disney didn't make it.
oh, okay, okay. Well, what's the other record producer or making movies? I'm trying to think. I mean, not that
Jerry
I'm big on.
Weintraub.
Oh, I didn't realize Weintraub did movies. Oh, hey, there you go, Mike Curb, right? Because Curb started making movies. Curb got heavily involved in Sex Lies and Videotape early on. Um, and I think Curb went on to do stuff like Circuitry Man, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, that's IRS, Miles Copeland. Remember the police, the producer of the police. He
Oh,
made like Circuitry Man, Delusion with Jennifer Rubin. He made One False Move. Remember One False Move? So that was all
I'm
through
not gonna see it.
IRS.
I was disappointed in Circusy Man, but it seemed like a cool idea. What are some films like Circusy Man?
But that made money though as a video movie. It made a lot of money. And getting on that other talking about record moguls, Chris Blackwell from Island Records. He produced movies.
Oh,
And also he produced U2. He has U2, and he was producing movies. He had a company called Island Pictures, and they were distributors also. If I'm not mistaken, they put out Luc Besson's Subway, the movie Subway. They released it for the first time here in '85. So he got involved. Yeah, you're right. So you're onto something with these music people going into movies.
oh,
Irving Azov.
yeah,
Oh,
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
did Irving Yesef do that? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what's interesting. In the late 70s, you had uncreative government people funded non-commercial movies, and then later on, you started to get video people and music people, and now you have uncreative tech people.
Uh, this is going to be seen on a tech device, but yeah, I mean, I'll agree. Look, anything that involved a personal relationship, you got better work. Now everyone's doing through a computer. Like, can you give me a movie that's horror that has 10 songs that's set in one house and it tells you? But at that time, you develop relationships. That's why the same record producers were with the bands for many years. Like particularly like George Martin with the Beatles for like 30 years, 40 years, right? 'Cause these relationships were crucial to, because I mean, I don't want to say by and large, but musicians are sort of crazy, right? So it takes a good person to like rein them in and say, let's perform and do business, and you know.
I
Oh,
think when Cameron Crowe,
the Rolling Stones produced. They did El Topo. Holy
Oh,
Mountain. Oh, Holy Mountain. Hodorowski. Yeah, the Rolling Stones did that. Ah,
uh, I think the musicians that weren't crazy were the ones that Cameron Crowe interviewed and Rolling Stone because it was young. Let him be talk to the ones that weren't crazy.
well, I don't think the Eagles were crazy. The Beach Boys
No,
were, were certainly not, not crazy. Um,
I don't call most rockers. They don't seem crazy. I think rockers are cool.
yeah, yeah. But so the Rolling Stones got roll, and then don't forget George Harrison had made films, did Time Bandits, uh,
Monty Python.
yeah, yeah, Monty Python, yeah, that's right, Life of Brian. So he got into that. And then did you know on I think it was on Holy Grail, who came with the in at the last money? Was it Keith Richards or Mick Jagger or somebody came in at the last money coming in for the Holy Grail, Monty
And
Python.
did one of my favorite films, which was Monty Python Live at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, you like that? But that's not a movie, that's a documentary kind of, right? Just filming
But
them at the
they're
book.
playing roles, so I still call it a movie because they're playing roles.
Okay, I got you. I got you. Yeah, I think that's actually two concerts in one, isn't it? It's not one whole concert. They took it over 2 nights or something like that.
Uh, and now let's talk about my favorite interview film is The Last Movie Stars.
I don't know that.
I show you a trailer. It's Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward.
Oh, okay. Well, and does it cover their whole life and career or what?
Yeah, and Ethan Hawke is interviewing people. He's interviewing Paul Newman and not Paul Newman. He said, but Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward's kids. And the one that wasn't in it, Susan. She just died.
Did you know? I think we talked about, yeah, the "Killing Me Softly" with his song. That's from The Drowning Pool, which is one of my favorite movies, and it's instrumental and it's played twice. You know the song "Killing Me Softly" by Roberta Flack?
Yeah, it's a good
Uh,
song, but I liked other films written by the same guy who wrote it. I liked a film that he wrote called Pretty Poison. I liked Fathom, and I liked Flash Gordon. I liked films from that writer.
well, Pretty Poison, isn't that the film with Anthony? What's his name?
Anthony
Anthony.
Perkins.
Yeah, yeah, right. It is right. Is that it or no? Am I thinking something
Yes, it
else?
is.
It is. Okay, good, good, good. Yeah, yeah.
And Tuesday Weld, who's very underrated. The reason why people don't know about her films is was one of those people who could have been a big star, but she didn't want to be a big star.
Well, I like her in Thief. Thief's a really good movie. That's a
She's
later
charming in
role.
everything she's in, and I loved her in Heartbreak Hotel.
Yeah. Here's the
Didn't
idea for
she
sure.
co didn't she co-star in Author starring Al Pacino?
Author, yeah, I don't like that movie.
It's a more mainstream version of a TV movie, is how you describe it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, something would be like famous songs in a movie where that's not the recording that made it famous. So "Killing Me Softly" from Drowning Pool, "You Light Up My Life," that is not the famous version by Debbie Boone that's in the movie, right? So that qualifies.
You
I
Light of My
guess
Life was a bad movie,
but I know we're not talking about. We're talking about like that version of the song is not the version that made it famous.
but
Also, if
it gives me a Whale of a Tale connection because I learned about that song from a special that the Whale of a Tale person, William Shatner, hosted called One Hit Wonders,
what
Greatest
will
One
of
Hit
it?
Wonders.
What will of a tell? What are you talking? Looking for a friend? What are you talking
No,
about?
William Shatner, who was in Whale of a Tale, hosted a special about the greatest one hit wonders, and one of them was You Light of My Life.
Oh, well, what's that song? Information Society. I like that. I forget that. That's a one hit wonder. And
It
then
wasn't in it, but I just want to get back to last movie stars. So I'll tell you what's cool. Ethan Hawke liked how much I liked it, and he was so sweet enough to talk to me about Google Chat about his charm interviewing people. So he interviews the family members. He interviews uh the grandkids, and the grandkids come here, seem like they're more excited about talking to Ethan Hawke than talking about their own grandpa. It seems like they like his movies.
what's your favorite Ethan Hawke movie? Hamlet.
I'm not really into his movies, but one I most liked he was minor in called Wake in Life. And
Oh yeah,
but he
yeah,
was
yeah.
perfect for that to host an interview film because he's good at talking and not everybody is as good at talking as Ethan Hawke. Like when you see his first interview when he was promoting Explorers, he seemed pretty interesting for a young kid.
Well, I mean, look. Like I said, there's different degrees of being an interviewer, and whether you're an interviewer slash filmmaker, or you're just a filmmaker and you have an interviewer. There's a variety of combinations. If you're a psycho filmmaker and you're interviewing your subject, and we talked
He's
about the whole.
sweetie. He seemed like a sweet guy, and I'll tell you it was clever. Like they have clips describing parts of their life. Like if when they talked about, like for example, Paul Newman and Joanne getting married, they showed a clip of their film where they were in love. Like when Paul Newman was gone and Joanne was alive, they showed a clip of Mr. and Mrs. Bridge where Joanne's character had trouble with her husband being gone. So that was one part that was clever about it.
And then what did they do? How many films together did they do? I can't remember.
I can't keep track of how
Yeah,
many they've done together.
was he in Three Faces of Eve? I don't know. What's your favorite
No,
Newman? What's your favorite Newman salad dressing? Newman's Own. No, your favorite Newman's Own
I
popcorn.
I don't know how many of Newman's own snacks I've had. I probably wouldn't know them as well if it wasn't for the food. I like some of the alphabet cookies. I like the chocolate cookies. I like the lemonades. I like pizza, but couldn't get into a Newman's own pizza.
Oh, you better start collecting those. You better start collecting those bottles because I'm pretty sure they're going to be. I'm pretty sure Newman's Own might not be a thing in the future. So collect those bottles; they'll be collector's items. I mean, it's kind of sad to say that, of course, but it's crazy how things passes by, and then pretty soon Newman passes, and we forget about it a month later. So then Newman's Own is going to be gone, and like so,
It was
collect.
very heartwarming to watch last when we started because Ethan Hawke was so sweet and he was interviewing his friends about the Newmans and they were having a lot of fun talking. He was
Yeah.
interviewing Sam Rockwell, Laura Linney, Billy Crudup, Josh Hamilton, some guy who I don't know his name, but he's been in Ethan Hawke's stuff, and they had a lot of fun talking about the Newmans.
Did you ever see did you ever see the series by Ken something? It was called Hollywood Without Makeup, and he interviews like stars from the 50s and 60s, and he shows their home movies. Did you know what I'm talking about?
I've seen part of it.
Yeah, so he puts himself into it. He's not in every single clip, but he like he'll show like Cary Grant's home movies,
I think I've
Randolph
seen some
Scott.
of it. I forget how much of it. Another one of my top interview films that I kind of liked, but I didn't trust the guy was My Date with Drew
Oh, I know that
because
movie. Yeah,
E.T. is my second favorite film, so it was fun to watch since I really love a lot of Drew Barrymore films. I didn't think the guy
yeah.
was mean, but I just didn't trust him where he could do anything to meet Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, so I mean, but you're talking about kind of these experiments, main made for mainstream use. Where I was talking about something that's really educational, but trying to put it through a portal that's that it appears less educational. The way you're ingesting the data. That's sort of what I was talking about, like to learn about environmental global warming. To watch Al Gore speak, and he was sort of trying to be this celebrity, have this presence, so you could actually listen to him for 5 minutes. I mean, for 90 minutes, and watch him for 90 minutes. Although maybe I disagree with some of what they were saying, but
And it was fun because I like a lot of Drew Barrymore films. There are a lot of child actors who are good as kids, and they're disappointed in them as a grown up, or they're good as kids, but they retire. But Drew Barrymore is one of those who was good as a kid and also good as a grown up.
what's before irreconcilable differences? What's before that one? Uh, that's around the same time as Cat's Eye, isn't it? No, Cat's Eye came later, right?
Yeah,
E.T.
she was really.
Y- wait, but what ET comes after Cat? No, no, no. That's no, yeah, yeah. Cat's Eye is after ET. Clearly, yes, yes.
She made the film good, and when I watched it, I was old enough to appreciate horror films.
She made a film. Okay.
Firestarter really creeps me
Oh
out.
yeah, 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 yeah. Firestarter. Yeah, yeah. Stephen King. Stephen King. Yeah, yeah. And there's also stuff like Terror in the Isles. Remember that? Where they it's basically showing clips from Hollywood horror movies, but Donald Pleasance is the narrator, and Donald's in the movie theater supposedly watching Halloween, and he's talking to you about the movies, and then Jamie Lee Curtis is in the theater with him, and they're talking about horror
I know
movies.
that Steve Buscemi did one early in his career, but the films were too scary for me. I more call that a companion film.
Gotcha, gotcha.
And
um,
another one that was kind of like My Date with Drew, but you more trusted the interviewer was the Bill Murray Experience.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Did I see that one? I don't think I saw that one. Yeah, yeah. I don't. Yeah. Um, Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's all relative what you consider a documentary, what I consider a documentary,
So
what's
it's
the
an
purpose?
interview film and documentary consider kind of different because of my language processing problems.
But then like okay, but then so like an interview movie is Spinal Tap, right? But that's a mockumentary also, but
No, it's it
that's
just
an
I don't call it
interview.
interview film because it's all fake. It's all a script. It's all people playing roles.
Okay.
And in the
uh
Bill Murray Experience, she's the Sadie Katz person who hosts it. She appears a little bit nicer, and at one point she interviews Bill Murray's brother, and then she interviews the woman who was in Stripes, and they're having a nice time doing a nice female bond. And
what about Warren, what was that kung fu one that Stars produced with Bruce Lee? It was something about I can't
Enter the
remember.
clones of Bruce.
What's that?
Enter the clones of Bruce.
I, I can't hear you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, sorry, sorry.
Enter the clones of Bruce.
No, 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 no. It was something else. Something else. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you're talking about the new documentary about the Bruce Lee clones, right? No, I don't. Yeah, yeah.
what was
Yeah.
it?
What about like there's stuff like American Movie? Do you know what that is?
Yes, I was. It was about the subject. I was really disappointed in it, but I liked it when a show called Greg the Bunny spoofed American Movie.
Okay. And then I don't know if we should go in that territory. Is that movie called what's it called? Horse? It was at Sundance.
What is it?
Oh, well, we can't really talk about it, but okay, so you don't know it, but I mean, that one, I believe the interviewer is a part of that as well. The subject is dead by the time the movie was made. The subject had been dead for the longest time, so yeah, yeah.
So one that had all different interviews was one about stunt women. It had Amy Johnson, Amala Dorsey, Michelle Rodriguez. They interviewed all different stunt women, and uh, the one they most focused on, who did most of the interviewing, was Amy Johnson.
There's one that appeared earlier than that, and it had like Cynthia Rothrock, Karen Shepherd. And it had some Hong Kong people, actresses as well, stunt women. I don't know if you know that one, but there was that one actually came in like in the 90s, right around when Cynthia was kind of really, really booming.
Top,
Like,
top Fighter 2.
what?
Top Fighter 2.
That's not a documentary though, is it?
Or interview
Yeah,
film.
it's a documentary and went straight to video.
Okay, yeah, no, I was thinking of something else yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Amy Johnson is very uh, underrated. And tell you what she was doing is uh, she was holding the hand of this Jeannie Epper stunt woman, and she was saying very warm stuff.
Ah, okay. Well, then I guess I don't know. I guess the next extension of the show will be what's an interview movie, and what's the perfect popcorn to eat while watching this interview movie. What's the right popcorn and drinking candy? Because
Because I just want to tell you that when I directed an interview movie in school, it was a learning experience. I learned how to interact with actors when I directed them, and I learned how to interact with actors when I acted in a film. And this is why Cameron Crowe is really good, because he had to do an interview film at a young age, and it got him a chance to learn how to interact with the actors.
I mean, if you could be a proponent for this, the problem is that a lot of platforms don't want to carry documentaries anymore, and so that's why they're just not being made. So if there's a way to make it seem like it's not a, like a documentary, like I even think like Into the Samurai about Samurai Cop 2, the movie that I did. Um, that's more of a it engages you a bit more. Well, it's just technically someone observing behind the scenes, but
That's
the
why they're making more interview films because I think it helps people like me engage with the topic.
I get it, but it's really up to how good the subject, how good the interviewer is.
Yeah. And they're
Um,
doing a little bit better and that, but when it's a young one, like Amy Johnson or Robert Downey Jr., they can bring a lot of energy to it.
yeah. Oh, I put out years ago, 20 years ago, a movie called Roger and Me. No, Michael and Me. Do you know that movie?
I think I've heard it. Oh, you put it out. I'm amazed. What was Michael and me
Yes.
about?
It was about this filmmaker who's stalking Michael Moore. His name was Willard Morgan. He lives in New York, and he was stalking Michael Moore, and I forget the premise. He wanted Michael Moore to see his movie or something like that, and I think he's like, "Oh, I'll jump off the Hollywood sign if you don't watch my movie," and he does sort of, but it's faked. It's interesting, yeah. Michael and Me. You should take a look at it. I don't think it's out and released anywhere. That's another one I should ask him if he wants to bring it out to a new audience. And he stalks everybody. He gets kicked out. Michael Moore kicks him out of every event. And he says because he's at Barnes and Noble. He's like, I have a stalker. My stalker's here, so we got to be careful. Like Michael Moore says that. So
It's really hard for me not to give anything away about the Bill Murray experience and my date with Drew.
why?
Should I tell people the outcome?
I mean, yeah. I mean, well, I don't know the statistics. People watching this show versus watching, and then watching that. So you might as well. I mean, they're just gonna jump to the end anyway. Anybody who watches movies these days, they watch 5 minutes and they watch the beginning, middle, and end. So go ahead,
At the
tell us the
end
end.
of my date with Drew, and I'm gonna whisper it so people don't hear.
Okay, spoiler
Uh,
alert. Spoiler.
it's true.
Well, see, I couldn't even. That was such a spoiler. I couldn't even hear it.
But did you hear it?
Okay, I kind of heard it. I kind of heard. It. Yeah, yeah.
And I'll tell you from Bill Murray experience, he doesn't mean it, but he does.
She was just talking in Swahili for those of you that don't know, and then and
Uh,
we don't. YouTube doesn't have subtitles for Swahili, so it'll never get translated. So
and
no.
by the way, there's one interview movie that I think your Chris Spinelli friend would like called The Comedy Store, where Mike Binder, who later on made some movies, started off as a comedian at the Comedy Store, and then he hosted an interview film about it where a lot of people got their start, and he was interviewing a lot of the comedians that were at the Comedy Store.
Okay. Well, you should put a list together of the mainstream stuff. I just know the esoteric stuff. I know like the Khmer Rouge killing machine about, by Riti Pan about the genocide going on in Cambodia that happened. I can tell you about that. I can, but I can't tell you about the last party and any of that.
But the Comedy
I
Store, at one point, the comedians were hanging out on the rooftop of a Comedy Store and maybe go to rooftop restaurant. And also at one point, a comedian was finally getting his chance, and Mike Binder was congratulating him. Maybe it was staged. It's hard to tell.
okay. Um, I think I mentioned that the Michael Apted, the 16 up, 24 up. What is it up now? 80 up? It's called, the series. Like, does that counts?
Yeah,
Because
weird to
yeah.
follow somebody for all those years.
So what do they have? Like 80 up now or 90 up?
So, how many minutes do we have left?
No, maybe a handful, five, six, seven. Yeah, if you want to wrap up. Yeah, I mean, yeah, whatever. I mean, so we keep going. But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, he followed everybody from 1960. What was the first one? 1960, 1963. I don't know, but we're
Well, so
going.
how many minutes have we done so far?
We did about 3 hours and 10 minutes. No, just kidding. No, no, we did a little bit over an hour. So yeah.
That's good.
Why do you have like a 30-minute speech you're gonna say, or you're gonna say adieu, uh, goodbye, or what?
I'll do my 30-minute my short minute Cassavetes speech. If you want to know some good interview films and ones to watch, email me at joeystar1@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram or Facebook. And it was nice doing this. Bye.
Bye.